And hello, welcome to this video. So in this video, in the last video, we successfully did a Celsius to Fahrenheit converter. So let's say we have 873 Celsius, we can convert it easily to 1603.4 Fahrenheit. Okay, then we have some of these extra things over here. We can just delete them off, not really necessary to have them. But yes, one problem with this is what do you call that? When we just click convert, okay, when we submit a blank thing, we will have an exception error. Okay, how do we actually deal with this? Okay, and how do we prevent like form submissions that are empty? Okay, so I want to introduce you to some HTML type inputs and HTML input attributes. So one of the most important attributes for forms is called the required attributes. Okay, what's a required attribute, right? So let's say you just fill in a blank form and you just press convert, right? Normally you would want the user to put in at least a number, like maybe the number 1 or for 1 degrees or something like that. Okay, so how do we tell the user that you must put a value in? Okay, so you should tell the user that this HTML form it requires an input. So you need to put this keyword here called required. Alright, the keyword here is called required. So this is a very simple way to do validation. Okay, which means that not all inputs are valid. You cannot just submit blank values. You cannot just submit A, B, C, D, E for temperature. You have to at least give something, right? So how do you do it? So one of the important things is that, hey, we need to tell the user, don't submit blank forms. We need a number. So we use the word required here. So I'm going to save this and .NET is going to hot reload for me. And what happens after that? So when I try to submit a blank form, it says, please fill out this field. Okay, please fill out this field. Alright. So at least it tells the user now that we need to put in a value. And this is a very simple way of validation. There are more complex ways that ASP.NET uses, but we'll start. I want to start with something simple. I mean, don't overdo the learning if you don't need to. But probably, and then you'll find that HTML inputs validation, they are pretty limited. Okay, but this is one way of doing very simple validation. Okay, meaning to say, not all forms of input are valid. I cannot just give a blank input and try to type convert. And then if I type convert, this whole page will be turned into an error page. Okay, so we do not want that. Okay, so next step is, okay, let's say we want, okay, if we type 123 degrees Celsius, yes, this is a valid input. But if I type ABC degrees Celsius, of course this is not valid. If you try to convert this, this will give you an error. Okay, you can just type reload. Okay, of course it will give you an error. So this is not supposed to be correct. So how then can you deal with this? Okay, so the next thing you can do to help to ensure that you're entering the correct thing is to change the input type from text to number. You can see this input type number over here. So input type number will only allow numbers to be keyed in. So I can change the input type from text to number. So I'll change this into a number over here. So I cannot just enter in any old text I want. I need to enter in a number. So this is another kind of input type. So if I type this and I go back to my test page and I try to type ABCDE, nothing will actually come out. However, if I type numbers in 8979, I will have something. Okay, only problem with this is if I try to enter decimal numbers like 273.15. Okay, it says enter a valid value. Alright, enter a valid value. The two nearest valid values are integer numbers 273 and 274. So how can I deal with this? Okay, the other thing you can deal with use is called the step attribute. Step attribute, it specifies the legal number intervals for input field. So if you want your numbers to increment by 0.1 or 0.01, you want decimal numbers, then you can put step equals 0.1 or 0.01. If one bigger step size, maybe you want numbers to increment by 10 at a go, then you put step increment by 10. Okay, so this is also another place you can take a look at the input type number. All right, so let's put down here step. You can of course put the attributes anywhere in any order you want. So I can put step is equal to what you want, 0.1 for example. So this will give me the ability to enter temperature to one decimal place. Okay, so let me close this. Let me type 101.1. Okay, I type convert, it's okay. Let me try 2 decimal places now. And then it says please enter a valid value. 2 nearest valid values are 101.2 and 101.3. So I can actually increase the number of decimal places by increasing the number of zeros here. Now, do I want to keep using zeros? Probably not. I want to probably use something like scientific notation. So for example, if I want to have 15 decimal places, I can put 1 times 10 to the minus 15. This thing actually works. So if you type here 1 point yeah, it will work. If I try to type in too many decimal places, 1 2 point I'll just keep typing in lots of numbers here, and I try to press convert. Oh, it does work too. Okay. Now let me try the 1 times 10 to the minus 2 and see if that works. Okay, 123.123. Okay, so yeah, this thing actually works. So I can actually type into, yeah, scientific notation does work. Okay, so I will just do 1 times 10 to the minus 15, or minus 9 will do. Don't overkill. Maybe 1 nanokelvin or something like that. 123 point and then it will say please enter a valid value. The 2 nearest valid values are this number and this number. So you don't want to overkill the decimal places. Okay, maybe for now just 1 times 10 to the minus 4. You don't usually have temperatures that precise. Okay, it's really up to you. But these are ways that you can use HTML to help validate your code. Now let's try a number, minus 283. Okay, minus 283 degrees C equals minus 477.4 degrees Fahrenheit. Now it's mathematically true, but is it physically possible? Answer is no, because absolute zero is actually minus 273.15 degrees C. So you cannot to actually tell the user don't enter a value lower than absolute zero, you can use the minimum attribute. So you see this thing called max and minimum. So you cannot enter in temperatures less than 273.15. Now if you want to do that, very simple. Just type min equals, right, and then you use the open and close inverted comma, minus 273.15. And this is the absolute minimum for absolute zero. You cannot ever go below that number, I mean physically speaking. And then what about if there's a minimum, isn't there a maximum? Yes, you can use a maximum attribute. And what's the maximum temperature? The maximum temperature I would say is the Planck temperature, which is I think the temperature of a particle if it goes to like the speed of light or something like that. Okay, something like that. So yeah, that's my what do you call that? That will be at least a very high temperature that probably it's relativistic, or yeah, it's like the maximum if I'm not wrong. So is it at this temperature wavelength of light emitted by thermal radiation reaches Planck length. Okay, no physical models are able to describe temperatures greater than the Planck temperature. Okay, so this is probably the physically most maximum temperature there is. So it's here 1.4 times 10 to the 32 Kelvin. But at that large temperature, with so many exponents or the 1.4 times 10 to the 32 Kelvin is about 1.4 times 10 to the 32 degrees C, because the 273 is barely negligible at that magnitude. Okay, so we can just do that. 1.4 times 10 to the 32 degrees C will be the maximum. Okay, 1.4 E 32 degrees C. Okay, and then we should be able to have our forms try to validate. So if I try to type in -283, HTML will now complain that, hey, the value must be greater or equal to -273.15. If I do 1E33, it says value must be less or equals to 1.4 E32, which is roughly the Planck temperature range. So now we have a good form where we have 873. We have a good Celsius to temperature Celsius to whatever temperature converter. Of course, we can beautify the form a little bit by taking out the 2 extra numbers that we don't really need. Oops, I don't want to do that, so I press undo. So I can just do what I can just do this temperature in degrees Celsius to degree Fahrenheit converter. Okay, then this will do the trick. Of course, it doesn't look so nice, so maybe I want to put a paragraph thing here. Of course, there are nicer ways to do this, but I'll just show you the basic ways. Yeah. So this is a basic form validation. Again, there are many. When you look at form validation for .NET Core, you won't use something so simple. You will use a lot of code somersaults, I like to call them. Yeah, a lot of bindings and all that kind of thing. But we can start with basic ones that are already available in HTML, and they can do the trick. So -283 doesn't work. You can put 100 degrees F, it will become 100 degrees C become 212F. 873 -273 blah blah blah. So I can see that yeah, just having this convert button, it does do its job. Okay, it does do its job. So we have added form validations for this. So I'll just leave it as be. I hope this was helpful for you to start designing your web pages and stuff. So we have successfully built ourselves a Celsius to Fahrenheit converter on the web page. Okay, there you go.